1993. Now, obviously, by now, the 16 is in full swing, having been started in 1979. That was a concert in St John Smith Square, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
So how did you get from 1979, starting your own group with a group of friends and colleagues, to being what was really internationally acclaimed and a huge recording artist by the 90s?
Bit of luck, I think. Luck's got
You always say it's luck. You're far too humble.
So. But there, certain stages, there was a big moment when a BBC producer called Hugh Keat came and listened to the group and said, "Look, I want you to do a BBC lunchtime concert?" So I said yes. Well, I think we were the first group, apart from the BBC singers, to have ever done a BBC lunchtime concert choir. So that was one thing. Then meeting the phenomenal, or writing to the phenomenal Ted Perry of Iberian Records. So then there starts the recordings, and then of course, come the 90s, you're late 80s, 90s, you're talking about a CD industry that had gone mad, the record industry just gone berserk. And we were recording for so many companies, so much music. I look back on it with great pleasure, but also a certain amount of horror, really, to think that actually one was rehearsing, doing concerts, then recording, and then you put it away, then you go on to the next project. And it wouldn't be till years later, I'd revisit. I think I recorded Barbican and Minor Mass in 1993. I didn't perform it again for another 10 years or something. And that's sort of crazy. Yeah. So those things have changed in much more recent times. But this was a group that was touring all over the place. Spain was our second home. Lovely tours of Japan, America, going down to Australia. Tours of Europe. It was heyday.
It was the heyday. I mean, I feel like I then joined the heyday later on in that time. But what I felt when I joined, which was definitely true from the beginning, is that the 16 feels like a family. I mean, exceptionally high quality family with incredible skills, but it's always felt like it's a fantastic group of colleagues and friends coming together. How have you curated that sound from your choice of people?
Oh, gosh. I constantly, with our Genesis 16, our student project at the moment, I constantly talk to people about, being themselves, about supporting their colleague. And, those are sort of unwritten rules which happened in those days of the 16 and still do today. I choose the people who I know are great, have fantastic personalities. I mean, they don't all, it's a bit like comedians, isn't it? Morecambe and Wise. They don't all have to be funny, the hilarious guys. You need the sort of straighter one to combat. But that's that sort of blend we have in the 16, which is fantastic. And as you say, they are all friends. It is all a family. And the one thing I feel with the singers we have is I want them to give of themselves. I want them to be themselves. I want their voice to come out. And if that happens, then you've already produced something that is relaxing in a way for that singer. To me, if there's a mistake in a concert, forget about it. We get on. We might make a joke about it. I mean, the number of times somebody makes I'm usually the one that says the words wrongly, but if somebody makes a mistake, I'll give a little smile. It won't be daggers drawn. It might be one or two occasions when I want to just bring things together. But basically, there's that feel of camaraderie, and support from everybody, and enjoyment. Come on, we're entertainers. We need to be doing that all the time. Doesn't matter what. Doesn't matter if it's a penitential piece or it's a joyous piece. We're ultimately entertainers. We're sort of producing music for this wonderful public that come to listen to us.
Well, I can confirm that, just for the camera, that it's very enjoyable. And exactly that there is a freedom, there's a relaxation that once you've done the hard work of finding the voices and combining the voices, actually, you just want to trust your professionals to do what they do. And they can take the music from you. And rehearsals are such a joy because it doesn't matter how many times we've done a piece, it does feel like a discovery of a little corner or a little sort of, rubato here or a new dynamic there. It feels like a voyage of discovery every time. How do you feel about going back? You've chosen Handel for this decade. You've got Victoria. We've got Guerrero. This music comes up again and again, I suppose, in the programming. How do you feel about coming back to composers? Is there anything new? Do you find that it's about the matching of composers, or is it just genuinely joyful to revisit them?
Oh, it's all of those, really. I mean, Victoria is a special composer to the 16, and he writes so well for voices. Everybody likes singing his music. And you know, I think for the 16, I mean, everybody in the choir knows full well that we're repeating programmes, and everybody knows that I'll do something different.
You've got to watch.
You've got to watch. And if you're not watching, then it just takes one person, it just falls out of sync. So everybody, that's an unwritten rule, and everybody does. And that keeps it alive, and that's so important. Victoria's music has been such a path group, and we recorded so much of it. I love his music. I mean, Negro Sum is a song of songs. You know, you feel with Victoria. I think he wrote all sacred music. I don't think he wrote a single piece of secular music. But you feel with a song of songs, Negro Sum and pieces like that, he's sort of letting his hair down. You know, he's just enjoying himself, and that comes across. Yeah, Guerrero. There's a big Iberian peninsula repertoire, the Portuguese.
And we've enjoyed the Iberian tours.
Oh, gosh, yes. Yeah.
And with all that touring, and we call the 16 a family, but obviously you've got your own family because by now you've married Lonnie a while ago, so the early 80s, and you've got your 4 children. How have they been part of the musical journey, and how have they been part of the 16?
Well, I mean, of course, I married Lonnie the year we formed the 16, so it was 1979. So, you know, every time there's an anniversary, 40th anniversary, it's our wedding
handy.
as well. It is, but it's so important. I mean, Lonnie she's just so supportive of what I do, and also my harshest critic in many ways, which is good. It just keeps me on the level. If I'm sort of concerned about something and I'm doing in a piece of music, I'll very often put it past her. And then my children have been, you know, they've all grown up with you know, the 16 family around them, and they're all artists in their own way, and none of them gone into professional music per se. But you know, I've got actors and all sorts of things.
Teachers. Very important.
Yeah.
And who'd have known back in 1979 how much support you're going to need, because look at all the decades that the 16 has gone on to give us.
I know, gosh, it's worrying really in a way.
Doesn't stop there.